So there's a whole debate going on of personal loot versus non-personal loot. I feel like I should weigh in with my thoughts. Still, yeah, all the D3 people in Riker's chat are getting pissy or something. Personal loot is fine for, a console game, maybe for Diablo 3 or some whatever thing, right? There's definitely a time and a place and a game where it can be fine. And you can have personal loot in Diablo 2 if you just create a game by yourself, right? Literally just go and, I play solo all the time. And then I get personal loot in all my single player. On Battle.net, if I really want to make sure I get all the drops, I go and kill Mephisto myself, right? Like, it's great because it rewards it rewards the people that are up in the action, or not personal loot. Personal loot rewards, like when you go and do all that content yourself, you can set it to be your own personal loot, right? By creating that game yourself. When playing with other people, I don't like personal loot because one, like I said right there, not having personal loot rewards the people that are in the action, right? If you are standing right in there and stabbing stuff and fighting things and being close to the enemies, then you're going to have the better chance to get the cool item if it drops. So the more that you're pushing and being in the action, the better chance you have of getting it, rather than if you're just standing really far back. Now, obviously, some characters are going to be a little bit closer, but characters all have like teleport with Enigma eventually and stuff, so they can do that. You can have a fast, other character, an Amazon with a lot of faster run walk that could be shooting a bow and run up closer. And you can just kind of scooch up anyways, right, on it. There's slight ping concerns and things, but it happens all around, right? For every time that I've missed an item because of ping, I got an item because somebody else's ping was bad, right? So you get a mix and match of all of that. And then what I also really love about shared loot, or what really makes me love it, is the excitement that the whole group gets to share when things drop, right? If I'm playing through with my 8-man group, we're all together looking for a crystal sword, right? Because we want to make a spirit. And so crystal sword, longsword, and broadsword. If all of us are getting drops of it, but we can't see each other's drops, then like if I miss it and he misses, okay, it's like harder for us all to tell. At the same time, when it drops, we can all see it and we can all be like, oh, there it is. Like crystal sword dropped. And then we all like shout in excitement together. And that's just a stupid white crystal sword. Like, that's not even like when we're hanging out and Jarun drops or Griffin's drops or something like that. And all of us together just like scream in unison and are like, yo, that's so sick. Like, first Jarun. And we're all going crazy. And it doesn't even matter who picks it up because we're grouped. And that's fine because we're playing together. Even still, if I'm not always playing with my friends and I'm playing in a group party, it's still really cool to find awesome loot together and everybody jump after it and all that stuff. And it's just this like, it's exciting, right? It just makes it so much more exciting. If it's personal loot, if Jarun drops for me, nobody else knows it until I'm like, hey, Jarun. And people are like, cool, that's great. But like, they don't get to see the item. They don't get a chance at it. There's none of that excitement there. So everybody's just kind of looking at their own loot, looking for whatever drops for them, not feeling the need to try and be near things when it's dying or anything like that. I mean, there's so much nostalgia with Diablo 2 around everybody, being far from Baal and then crowding him at the last second to try and like pick up all the loot and stuff. And it's just a giant mess, but that's the point of it. That's the fun of it. It's fun to sit there and have Baal's loot be gone in a tenth of a second because everybody's just trying to spam click on it. And you know what? Maybe you get the Shaco, maybe you don't, whatever, but you get it another time. And then you get the excitement when you have it there. And of course, if you're playing with other people you can trade, you can agree to roll for it if you want. You can do a drop of, whatever things. I mean, there's things, like who needs it the most. You can just do that stuff when we're doing like party play, right? But it's just fun. And that's just one of the things that has made Diablo 2, right? It's like some people being like, I wish there were bind on pickup items in Diablo 2. And it's like, is bind on pickup always a terrible thing? Probably not. There's probably a game out there that bind on pickup works. Is it good for Diablo 2? Not really. Like in Diablo 2, bind on pickup just has never really been a thing. It's all about the trading aspect. Trading is such a vital piece of Diablo 2. Some other games, it's not as big of a thing, or it's not a thing at all in certain games. And so it doesn't, it doesn't like make as much sense for it. But it's just like, once again, is personal loot always bad? No. In Diablo 2, I just think it changes so much about the game. This isn't even going into discussion of, how it could affect the economy. And of course, I think it would increase the number of people who would just run worthless characters, like an item find barb that does nothing except stands around, lets everybody kill everything, and then goes in and item finds all the bodies and gets all the personal loot himself, and then all the personal loot on the body finds as well, right? Like, that'd be the most effective character to technically run around with, but it's just going to be like boring, and that character's not contributing because they don't have to contribute. Whereas right now, you could kind of run in there and do all that stuff, but you're not going to get all your personal loot and all these things. And so, when you're taking more action and being the character that can go up and kill a monster, you're going to get that loot more often, right? Like you teleport ahead, you go to the side, you kill the boss, and then you're the closest to the loot that you get to pick up. And so, it rewards characters that are actually doing the killing quite often. So, yeah, I mean, overall, like I say, there's plenty of other things that it could affect, namely, like I said, the economy. Who knows what it would all do there. And then additionally, just like, some people are like, well, what if you just enabled it for some people in a game? One, that sounds like a heck of a technical challenge to make sure it gets all correct, where only some people get shared loot and some people get personal loot. But then it's the same idea of like, what happens when you put a character that is so much faster into a game, right? People will be like, well, just don't play the super fast character. Just go play a slow character and you're fine. But for people who want to be competitive, who want to, get the loot and all of that stuff, you're forced essentially into playing the best build, right? This is kind of the thing, right? You're always forced, or as a gamer, you're forced, because you can always not, but if you want to be competitive and all that, you're always forced to play whatever's fastest, whatever does really well, all of that stuff. And so if you remove that and remove that piece and change the whole meta with all that stuff, then it changes all of these things. And now everybody's going to be forced to pick the personal loot system because it's always going to be better than the shared loot system in terms of what you're going to be getting, right? Because now, instead of the chance of getting the griffins because you're clicking on it, you guaranteed get it if it happens for you. And so, okay, that, it's like everybody's going to have to go do that, blah, 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 right? So there's just the like half and all of that stuff would just be kind of a mess. Like I say, personal loot is great. Go play single player. Go create your own Battle.net game and put a password on it and run around and kill all the monsters and get all the sweet loot from all of them. In a multiplayer setting, I just don't like it. There's things that I think can be made to change within D2 that could make the game better, including some additional content. I'm even fine with if they added things like rune stacking and gem stacking. I think stuff like that could totally be fine and workable and not end of the world. But personal loot, I just think, is a big shift away from what Diablo 2 is, how Diablo 2 plays, and would have a lot of unintended consequences as well that we can't even think of right now. So I say, if you want personal loot, play Diablo 3, right? Isn't that loot all personal and everything is... You can't even trade in Diablo 3, right? It's just like everything is yours. And I just don't think it fits well in Diablo 2. I just don't think it's a good fit. So anyways, that's just kind of my thoughts on personal loot. I think it's just not great in Diablo 2. So that's my soapbox. Thanks for listening.